comes to marathon swimming, there are few people in the sport who are as influential as Penny Dean. As an athlete, she looked at swimming channels as one continuous series of fast 1-mile swims, swimming at an extremely high turnover for mile after mile, hour after hour. She trained like few people before her had ever done, triple workouts in a day. As a coach, she guided athletes and relays to world championships and world records. Even after reigning over the English Channel for nearly 2 decades, she took her own swimmer, Chad Hundeby, and guided him to break her own world record. As an administrator, she argued convincingly to develop budget and resources to support the sport. As a race organizer, she helped establish an international competition across the Catalina Channel and guide national championships in the USA. As a native Californian, Penny now makes her home in New York, but her influence and words of wisdom still ring as true now as they did when she shattered the English Channel record in 1978 by 1 hour and 5 minutes, despite less than ideal conditions. Penny Dean stands tall in the sport as she was both a racer, world record holder, and a coach. She was the 1979 World Professional Marathon Swimming Federation's world champion and still holds the overall Catalina Channel world record set in 1977, one of the oldest world records in aquatic sports. She set 12 overall world records in her illustrious career and was head coach for the USA National Long Distance Team from 1984 to 1988. She won races in Lake Windermere in England, Lake St. John, and throughout Quebec, Canada, and around Atlantic City in New Jersey. Penny Dean is presently a professor of education and is most deservedly recognized as one of the greatest marathon swimmers in history. She is an author of one of the best-selling open water books and was president of the College Swimming Coaches Association of America from 1985 to 1987. At her induction into the International Swimming Hall of Fame, Penny Dean was described as the tallest and proudest 5'2", 125-pound swimmer the world has ever seen. What the world did not know was that she swam her way to victory with no anterior artery blood supply to her left arm. She used the other part of her body for that, her guts. It is our great pleasure to welcome Dr. Penny Dean to Open Water Wednesday.
Hello, we're here at Open Water Wednesday with Dr. Penny Dean. Good morning, Penny.
Good morning, Steve.
Where do we find you today? What part of the world?
You find me in freezing Fayetteville, New York.
Oh, and how far is that from New York City?
6 hours.
6 hours north, so
north.
There's a lot of snow on the ground.
About 4 feet.
Okay. As a native Californian, that is a little bit different from what you're used to, correct?
Yes. I've been here 5 years now, and every year I think it's going to be less, and it gets more.
Well, for the listeners who don't know you, can you give us I know you're very humble, but if you could brag a little bit about all the swims that you've done in your career and just give us an overview of what you've done in the open water.
Well, I started out when I was between 1 and 2 swimming for escapades, and they'd have me, because I was so small, dive in, swim across the pool, and and then it was to prove that kids could swim at any age, so that's how I really got into swimming. And then
and this was in Northern California?
In Northern California, in San Mateo.
Okay.
And then when I was 10, Ray and Zeta Taft, the San Mateo Marlins, asked if I wanted to swim the Golden Gate, to be the youngest female to ever do it. And I said, sure. I didn't know much about it. But we were lucky enough to be able to talk to Gertrude Ederle.
Wow.
And she told us, don't do it because it'll ruin our hearing, because the cold water gets to your hearing in your older years. And that's the only thing I remember her telling me. Would take care of your ears. And I said, okay, I will. So we used earplugs.
Okay.
And I tried to swim the Golden Gate, and we were, little more than halfway out, and the first big ship went by, and we had to back up. And then we started swimming again, and another ship came and swam again, and another ship came. And the coach finally swam up to me. I was ahead of the other swimmer, a young 8-year-old boy, and asked if I wanted to get out. Well, I was freezing to death, and I said, of course I'm freezing. And then I touched the boat, and as soon as I touched the boat, I knew what I had done was wrong, that I had quit. And I watched Bruce finish the swim, Bruce Farley, and I was, at the time, I weighed 50 pounds, and I was about 4'2", and Bruce was 5'4" and weighed 85 pounds. And we went back to the shore, and I saw my mom turn and walk away, and I turned and looked and saw the Golden Gate as I was walking up the ladder to get back up on the dock. And I promised myself before I quit swimming, I'd swim the English Channel and break the world record.
Wow.
So that's how I got the big start.
Wow. At 10 years old, you're thinking.
At 10 years old.
Wow. Obviously you had met Gertrude Ederle. So you had, as a 10-year-old, you had some knowledge of the English Channel.
Yes.
Wow.
We had talked about it through Ray and Zeta Taft, because they knew a lot of things and really helped in understanding the possibilities, how many possibilities were out there. They didn't know about the Catalina channels, but they did know about the English Channel.
Wow. And then, okay, so now you're 10 years old, and you have your sights on the English Channel. So what do you do as a 10-year-old?
Well, I swam for different clubs, and then went to Santa Clara Swim Club, and I was swimming 3 practices a day that worked out to be about 5 hours.
Wow.
And I'd swim every open water swim that was available in Northern California, from Healdsburg to Foster City to Santa Cruz, and then I went away to college, and then I found out in the summer that they had all these races in Southern California, and I ended up going home. I had knee surgery, and I decided at the end of the summer I was coming back to school early with a friend of mine, and so I could swim and recover and rebuild my knee by swimming these races. So I would hop out on my crutches, drop the crutches, swim the race, and then they'd bring my crutches to finish the race. But it was pretty funny, but my legs did get back in shape pretty quickly.
Yeah. Okay, and so now you're gaining all this experience doing lake swims and pier swims, peer-to-peer swims, and then you go to